Hello, folks. Yep, it's another night for another Transformers movie review. But just so you know, I won't be doing any tomorrow because the Doolies will be having Aaron Fisher on, and I am not going to miss out on tuning into their stream to see them interview him. I'm going to wait till Thursday to get it done. Besides, I still also got my own live stream on Superman and 8 other characters, and I hope others will be around to come join me on panel for it too. Right now, Age of Extinction is a sequel to Dark of the Moon, and if I had to guess, part of the Dark of the Moon trilogy, and it takes place 5 years from the events of Dark of the Moon, where the Autobots are now disavowed by the United States government from taking any part in hunting Decepticons after all the deaths and destruction caused around the world by the betrayal of Sentinel Prime. Sentinel Prime's betrayal led to the US government's rejection of the Autobots at a massive degree, and now they're being hunted not just by CIA operatives that are actually within part of the division called Cemetery Wind, but also as hunted by an alien bounty hunter called Lockdown, who kills Ratchet at the start of the movie. Poor Ratchet, and he never stood a chance. Meanwhile, Kate finds Optimus inside a junk, inside a pawn store where he has a hole in his where he's got where a missile has punctured a hole in his armor. His daughter Tessa returns home, was having a happy life, but then gets shocked when she sees her father back a bringing back a tow truck tow truck who is later in fact Optimus Prime, as Kate discovers thoroughly and sooner as he reactivates him. Then they came. Then we come to the soon as they discover Optimus and introduce a friend of Kate's known as who was Lucas was was injured, went to the hospital, but ends up calling the guys from the government, and they almost end up getting killed if it wasn't for Optimus intervening. If Optimus had not intervened, Tessa would have lost her life to these evil assholes of the government agencies. I mean, why should we even bother? Yeah, or luckily for them, well, I mean, even though lockdown destroyed their house, Tessa was lucky that Shane was nearby and he gets her, Kate, and Lucas in, and they start taking a drive away to get away from the CIA, who's the professional killers of the CIA, as they drive all the way through the roads of Texas, crashing into buildings and every corner of town. And God, wow, lots of road rage, lots of shooting, and lots of road rage to go about, including drone spies, while Optimus is being chased by Lockdown, who killed Ratchet earlier. Then Optimus reaches Optimus is, reaches a factory where, well, I mean, after crashing through so many obstacle courses throughout on the road, where they find, I mean, after crashing into buildings, ruining parties and stuff, Lucas admitted that called the government, not thinking that they were going to kill them all, that they thought they were going to get paid, which is ridiculous. And yeah, be sure not to fall for any scams, people, even if it's made by phone calls and stuff. You need to watch what you're doing too. Yeah, no guarantees at all. Ooh, wow. As soon as they got to the factory, they were able to outbest the the professional CIA thugs by going down off into onto a ramp. But things started to take a dark turn just when Lucas got left behind and ended up getting killed by Lockdown's transformium grenade. Cade, Tessa, and uh, who was that guy again that I can't remember who it was. Oh, Jack. Oh yeah, Jack. I think it was Jack. Yeah, Jack was. Yeah, like and share the stream, folks. Yeah, Rayner. Jack Rayner got inside Optimus Prime, who apologizes to Cade for the death of his friend Lucas. Things started to fall out when Cade learned that his daughter had been dating behind his back for years, all because of a court order that he thought was hoax. And wow, now Cade wanted to find out who would want the CIA to kill his own daughter like that. And pardon me if I say CIA, but that's who they are, even if they are a rogue division of the CIA. The cemetery wing is indeed the CIA. And of course, you can't always trust the government on most things. Some you can, depending on whether they're based or biased, but either way, you know shadow governments are always in the form of intelligence operatives at most times. And pardon me for saying that too. Next up, Cade was able to get an as soon as they were out on the road with Optimus, the leader of the Autobots retained his Peterbilt truck form as he scans a nearby model of a white Peterbilt truck, and while turning into that kind of shape of a vehicle, he retains his blue and fire insigniatic paint job. As soon as he got into Utah, a big fat bulkhead-looking Autobot called Hound shouted happily and fires his gun, gets trigger happy and shoots and tells Drift that Bumblebee and Crosshairs that Optimus is alive and okay. Yeah. Cage showed the Optimus and his group of Autobots that sh- about showing the deaths of Ratchet and Leadfoot having been killed by Lockdown and uh, and the cemetery wind thugs. That, and after they learned of their association with a company called KSI, they decided to drive back to Chicago, where the where the epic battle of Dark of the Moon happened in the climatic battle. Yeah, they went to Chicago to find so they can so we can find and learn more about who is who who was sending the operatives who would send such evil CIA operatives to kill them. Soon, soon as got to Chicago, they looted some local stores for supplies and met up inside one of the abandoned tenements that Epps and his team were using during the Battle of Dark of the Moon. Yeah, yeah. And what's funny is that Cade gets all testy and he throws a bottle of mouthwash out across the room and busts it open to spoil it all because he doesn't want his daughter making out with some guy that he didn't know about behind his back. Yeah, parents can be overprotective. That is very true. I'd be in that position too. If I, yeah, I'd be in that very position as well. Yeah. Age of Extinction, the fourth movie, highest grossing film of 2014. Uh-huh. Yep. Wow. My word. Huh. And look at that. The number 12 on the cover of the PG-13 movie. Yep. Yeah, well, they spent a day or so, or a couple hours or so in the Chicago area learning about the company KSI, was run by by an enigmatic billionaire named Joshua Devoy. Well, I forgot his last name, but his name Joshua makes sense. Yep. Yeah. While going in there, Cade went inside and discovered that they were melting down parts to Autobots like Ratchet just to use them to make stuff for their own with the use of a material called transformium, which the billion 20 with the 20 billionaire himself said with what the transformers are made of. Yeah. As soon as they got further into the company, wow, Cade, Yeager, Cade and Jack stumble across a duplicate of Bumblebee in one of the display rooms, and after listening to this sexy, hot-looking Sports Illustrated Asian model from Australia, and mocking Bumblebee and bragging a lot in such corporate promos, it started to agitate him, and man, it got him worked up into losing his shit. Yeah, Bay knows his way of comedy and of mixing comedy with serious action. I'll give him that. Grouchy stuff too. Yeah, we missed the Rouchies. Yeah, it helped to make things strong. But now it's all corporate bloat and crap. God, I hate it when we gotta keep treating rich people like gods instead of treating them like dust. I mean, why? What is wrong with this world? Common sense is dead because of too much propaganda going around and people being bought out and shit. But anyway, soon as Optimus saw Ratchet's head being melted down for parts, it agitated him and his fellow Autobots into storming the company and blowing things up in the lab. They were talked out of it the the CEO himself, and it left Optimus Prime fuming. And as they were about to leave with Kate and the kids, but this wasn't going to let allow Adinger and the company to go quietly as they sent in their prototypes to hunt them down. Galvatron, which I don't get why they would blow the opportunity to bring the Stunticons in favor of him out favor of more goddamn ego, but as well as making more shit up instead of sticking to the source material. Then, and as soon as they got there, they act they started to feel like they were losing control of Galvatron a bit as he was getting lethal with people on the road. Soon, then he intercepts Optimus, overpowers him long enough for Lockdown to show up to abduct him and Tessa, who was scared shitless over Lockdown's terrorism. Kate and Jack had to follow them back into the city with Hound and Bumblebee and the two Autobots named Drift and Crosshairs. Upon there, upon there, they managed to climb aboard, and soon as the CIA assassin James Savoy and his team left with what got from in exchange for Lockdown called the seed, Cade aboarded the ship. They find Tessa, who despite Shane. Oh yeah, Shane. Sorry. Oh my God. God, I mind is rusty. His name is Shane. Oh my God. Despite Shane holding Cade back from rescuing him, goes to him and hugs him. Man, it was kind of strange. Kind of awkward. That was the kind of the most awkward moment of the movie. Hound and the Autobots found Optimus held captive and upside down inside a night ship that Prime accuses Lockdown of disgracing, in which they were going to use to escape. Luckily for them, Bumblebee then rescues Cade, Tessa, and Shane from a pack of Lockdown's cyborg hounds. Then they hop aboard one of the fighters that was being piloted by Crosshairs. They engage other enemy fighters along the way, And then, as soon as they got, and then they took off, and then they got away just in time before the ship took off into hyperspace. Optimus wasn't happy with the fact that the humans were using Transformium to create their own version of robots, only for them to allow Megatron to make his return as Galvatron. Then Cade had to contact Joshua to inform him that Galvatron was controlling him all this time and was looking to do some damage. This opened up his conscience into turning down his deal with Adinger in favor of doing what is right because he is concerned about the direction they're going in. Regarding Galvatron, who is now in Hong at a place called Guangzhou, wakes up and starts bringing the robots to life inside his place. Oh. Yeah, Galvatron. Wish they could have included the Stunticons, and then it would have helped. I'll be sure to do a rant on this another time, but I have to be ready for home my dual shot in a matter of minutes, guys. 19 minutes to be exact. I'll have to do a rant video later on. Now, the Autobots were thinking about leaving, but then they arrived in Hong Kong to rally with Joshua, who who confessed, who was along with two women, one from Russia and one from China, arrived and they were able to evade some of Addinger's CIA hitmen. Ah, for all the Transformers fans and Men in Black, thank you for coming. Thanks for coming aboard. Yep, thanks for joining. Next up, next up they were about to escape with Joshua on the seat of the night ship, but it ended up getting shot down by Stinger, causing the ship to crash with Optimus crosshairs and drift into the local national reserve over in the jungle hills of Hong Kong. Hound and Bumblebee were on their own to protect Kate and the crew from the KSI Decepticons. And along the way, they came across Savoy, who Cade was able to take on in a fight and killed, while Bumblebee and Hound continued taking on some of the drones. Galvatron kept his distance, though. Soon as Optimus Prime discovers freed the Dinobots, he engages their leader, Grimlock, overpowers him, and threatens him to cooperate. Then Kenny gets on Grimlock and they ride it back into the city to engage the KSI Decepticon drones. And man, some of the raunchiness was yeah, so nuts. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll be sure to do a rant video later because I can't miss out on the stream tonight. Even though I get jealous of not being one of their top mods. Well, no. Of one of their most popular. But, wow, never mind, guys. Anyway, Katie told me that last year, that she only saw up to 4 Transformers Bayverse movies. Never saw the last night. Well, I wish I could invite them to talk about it in my review, but I cannot be last minute. Also, let's get back to work. And I don't want to disrupt them from what they got going on either. Also, as soon as the Optimus arrives with Grimlock, he confronts Joshua never you to never use Transformium to make stuff again. And Grimlock sure intimidated him. Wow. soon as they get- s- then soon as the fight continues on, Bumblebee took down his copycat Stinger, and then Lockdown arrives and uses a giant magnet on his nightmare ship to try to capture the Dinobots and Optimus. But Optimus outsmarts him by shooting his cannon right at the magnet, just shutting it down. And then he engages Lockdown in a final battle where Cade followed to help him out, only to be confronted by Headedger, who ends up getting killed by Optimus. Of course, it only left Optimus's guard down to Lockdown, who immobilizes Prime with his own sword. Cade had to engage Lockdown, but not without Bumblebee coming in to help out. Tessa and Shane were able to get the sword out of Optimus using a tow truck, and at the same time, Prime takes the Knight sword in his possession, the same sword that you see him holding right here in the picture. He jumps right into the air, and unlike his counterpart from the Transformers animated series, he in the cinematic universe kills Lockdown with that sword. Oh. Yep. Then he, yeah. And then, as KSI drones led by a two-headed shockwave lookalike show up at the plant, Optimus uses Lockdown's grenade to destroy the final remaining KSI drones. Galvatron swore that he will return, confront Optimus again one day, gloating that he has been reborn, just as as Beijing sent in its troop security forces to secure Hong Kong from threats. Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't do the Stunticons, but I will do a rant later on. Not now. Gotta be ready to join the dualies in the chat from in their chats. Yeah. Optimus reunites with his fellow Autobots. The Dinobots were free to head back into the wild to enjoy their freedom. Optimus, feeling that it wasn't safe to keep the seed on the Earth, takes it with him and decides to leave to confront the people who sent Lockdown to take him a hostage to them. And that will bring us into the last night. Well, guys, that'll be my review for now. I like to rant a while, but unfortunately, I gotta be ready to tune into my Dual Shock. I'll have to get it scheduled later. And gosh, I hope I'll have to do my best to stay polite. Besides, they've got the Legend of Zelda the movie news on their Catch a Monday agenda tonight, so be sure to join me in the chat for them and make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video, guys. I'll see you there.